Ronan, and behind me are the pink and yellow walls of the house where Madonna lives when she's in Los Angeles. Well, of course, she's not there now because she's back on the road for the first time since her 1990 Blonde Ambition tour. The Girlie show, which she's called this outing, started in London in September, and I had a chance to do an exclusive interview with her in Paris. In fact, I became friends with her a few years ago, so when we were discussing what we were going to do with this interview, she suggested we do something a little different, perhaps a little more intimate. So she invited along a couple of her friends, Paris-based designer Jean-Paul Gaultier and Jenny Shimizu, who's an up-and-coming model, and just for fun, the French rugby team. In terms of your singing live, you've got a million changes.
I wouldn't say it's the most difficult. I think it's one of the biggest undertakings I've ever undertaken. And it has been very difficult, but I would say that it's much more difficult to do something like make a movie and sit in my trailer all day waiting 12 hours for them to set up a shot and then get to the end of the day and find out that we're not shooting that scene after all, and then have to go home and feel like I've accomplished nothing all day.
I know Alec is one of your best friends, and he was on the last tour. What's it like being without him and being without the cameras?
It's a lot easier, I have to say. I was just thinking about that the other night. That added a whole nother tension, because I was always working. I mean, the cameras were always in the room. I never really had a moment to myself, and that probably ended up stressing me out more too, you know. That probably made me even more run down and sicker instead of going to bed, you know what I mean? The cameras were always beating us places, and we'd have to stay longer, and then Alec would make us do things over and over again, and he was so mean to me. Come and have a chat with us, Jean-Paul.
Can I? Hello?
Yeah, absolutely. You can have a cushion and everything.
Oh, yes, I feel good.
So did you supply Madonna with this great outfit today?
Yes.
I'll model it.
We are almost brothers. I have also a kilt. You look fantastic
You
in
have
it.
to get my outfit.
You have not...
I'm a professional noodle. I'm a super noodle. And I only charge $250 per fashion show.
Which is not very expensive, no?
Exactly.
What does take the agent? A lot?
What?
No?
What
Your
agent?
agent.
Who's my agent?
Yeah.
They're called cheapskates.
Yes, I know them. I didn't know you were in that one.
I made it through the wilderness. Somehow I made it through.
Now, where did Like a Virgin, your rendition of Like a Virgin, come from?
Well, I sort of have this thing that every time, since that was like one of the biggest records I ever had, and people always associate that song with me, that I always want to do that in my show, but I always want to do a different interpretation of it. So, last time I did it, you know, as a harem girl, you know, and I had, and the arrangement was very Middle Eastern. And this time I had a few ideas, and I ended up going with the sort of homage to Marlene Dietrich with a bit of Maurice Chevalier thrown in there, just for good measure. I don't know, it just evolved. Actually, I was thinking of doing it, but I wasn't sure that I should do it. And then when I asked Gene Kelly to come in and watch my show and see if he had any advice to give us or pointers or whatever, I mean, he said, he started talking to me about how he'd worked with Marlene Dietrich once, and she'd asked him to stage a show for her, and he said, you know, you really must do a number dressed as a man and in a tux and in a top hat, and you really must. You're the only person that can do that. And so I had the idea, but I wasn't sure, and he kind of gave me the courage to do it.
How did you get in touch with Gene Kelly?
Well, I just had my agent call his agent. Just that. I mean, my brother Christopher suggested it, and we had been watching tons and tons of movies as we were kind of formulating the show and figuring out what we wanted to do, choreographically, costume-wise, set design-wise, everything. And we were watching a lot of his movies. And Chris said, well, why don't we just go right to the source, you know? And I said, no way. And he said, why not? Just try and find him. I didn't even know if he lived in Los Angeles, but he called me in about 20 minutes. So, and I was so nervous talking to him on the phone. Gene?
When did you two meet?
First time, do you remember the first time? The first time I truly saw you, it was in the MTV Awards the first time. She was singing like a virgin, you know, and I was like, my God. Because, you know...
Who is that trollop?
And, you know, like somebody very free, and like that's why I say, my God, she is fabulous.
Did we dance?
We danced, and it was only half an hour after the tour, the show, and she was like just fresh and like that. It was incredible. I was like, my God, not only after 3 hours, just there, she's perfect.
Just
like
fresh and like that. Okay?
Gracias, muchachos. Mi amigo. Mi corazón. Me. That's all I ever think about.
Who came up with all the ideas for arrangements, and what music do you listen to that's kind of influences you?
I have the most incredible musicians, and so we would always start on a song one night and fool around, pull out ideas, talk about things, and then the next day I would work with the dancers all day long, staging stuff, and then that night I'd go and work with musicians, and that day they'd have like put all their heads together and worked out some stuff, and then I walked in and they had done what they'd done to Erotica, and I just thought it was amazing. And then I shape it and edit it and stuff like that, but that's basically how every song went. I mean, I wasn't interested in just doing what was on the record, you know, just because you can just buy a record and listen to the same song. So that's how the show came to be, and that's how I came up with all the music.
You give me fever.
Working with this band that I have, rehearsing for this tour, I had so much fun making new arrangements to all of my songs that I'm thinking of doing a live album with the musicians that I've been working with. I'm thinking of writing stuff. I haven't written with musicians that way for a really long time. I usually just like write with a person I'm co-producing with, and it becomes very insulated, and I kind of like the idea of writing stuff with live musicians, kind of the old-fashioned way, you know?
Express yourself.
Company drill.
Holiday. Celebrate. Holiday. Celebrate.
Now, one of the things when you were in London, the crowd was going completely mad, and you said, I'm not going to abuse my power.
Well, I was being facetious, because when I do that one song in Holiday, I sort of take on the personality of General Patton, and or Napoleon, or some little general marching around in my long coat. It's a bit of an inside joke, because it's for people who know me and know how anal I am and how desperately organized I am. I can't even take a vacation without being extremely regimented. So it's kind of like my version of a holiday, of a vacation, you know, sort of bossing everybody around and telling people to have a good time. Jean-Paul's the only man I'm going to marry.
I hope. I asked 3 times.
Yeah. I'm letting
So
him.
you refuse now.
I'm letting him, you know, he's got a few more years of wild oats to sow. And, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
What
me
do
too.
you adore about
Yeah.
him?
What
What
do
do
I
you
do about him?
adore about him?
And his spirit.
I hope so, yeah. Also my body sometime, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
got
you
a-
don't
he's
know
got
it
a
very
nice
well.
ass.
But anyway, I will show you.
Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, dance on air. They had style, they had grace. Rita Hayworth gave good face. Lawrence Catherine Latitude, Betty Davis, we love you. Ladies with an attitude, fellas that were in the mood. Don't just stand there, let's get to it. Strike the pose, there's nothing to it. Vogue.
Now, a lot of people would say, why bother? You proved yourself, you've done it before.
I don't know why people always say, you know, you already did, you know, you have everything, you have fame, you have fortune, you know, why don't you just go and grow a tomato garden or something? Because it's not about proving that I can do one thing. It's about, without sounding corny, being an artist, and the artistic life is creation, and when you have ideas, you want to express them. So if you have one idea and it came off well, that doesn't mean that, you know, that's it. You know, life goes on. And as long as I'm inspired, I'm going to keep doing things.
Now, well, what does inspire you?
Life inspires me. Everything. Music, art, people. I mean, the most absurd, mundane things could inspire me. You name it.
I mean, a lot of people could look at your life and say, when do you have time to experience all this stuff?
As I'm living, I mean, all you have to do is keep your eyes open and watch things. I mean, you can learn a lot just sitting in an airport terminal, watching people, you know, or, you know, I do a lot of reading because I'm always stuck on an airplane somewhere. Believe me, you can always get something out of something. Come over here. Jenny is the noodle of the year, okay? She's got really cool tattoos.
Yeah, let's have a look at your tattoos.
She's a
then.
man when it comes to tattoos.
She's
Come
gone
on, don't get all
completely red.
clammed up now, all right? Here. Here's a spark plug. Look, if you don't know the model of this spark plug, she will not speak to you, okay? Right? Are you shy?
No, I'm not.
Wait, show him this one. This is a really good one. Zoom in for a
that is
close-up.
fantastic.
It's a tattoo of me she had put on her arm when I had long hair.
What about the one on the back of your neck?
Here, show him the one on the back of your neck.
What will be your next video? Because you did Bye Bye Baby on the VMAs, everybody thinks that's what you're going to do next.
I don't know. I don't know if I am going to do another video.
Really? Why?
Because, I mean, well, the last one is the only one MTV really played.
Feel it on my fingertips, hear it on the window, lay your lips coming down like rain. Wash away my sorrow.
I put so much time and effort into my videos, I might as well just go and make a movie or something, you know?
Now, you loved Orlando, didn't you?
I was really jealous when I saw that movie. I wish I directed it. To me, that's like, it was like the coolest movie a woman could direct, because it wasn't like a feminist statement or anything like that. It was just finally a movie that's really from an intelligent woman's point of view, that I felt like that character also, that, you know, what it's like to experience life from a female point of view, and then a male point of view, and then have exactly the same feelings about human beings and sexuality and life and everything, and now your gender changes, and what it's like to be on the other side when you have the same feelings, and how people treat you so differently, and how if you're a man, you're really allowed to behave one way, and if you're a woman, you're not.
Would you like to direct?
Be a man?
Would you like to direct your own movie? Have
Yeah.
you seen that?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, that inspired me. I've always wanted to.
Do you think that's in the near future?
Yeah, I have some ideas, but I don't really want to talk about them. You know. My name is Nita. I'll be your mistress tonight.
In your music, you can just decide what you're going to do, visualize it, go for it. In Hollywood, I mean, you've got to deal with studio people. At the last minute, a research screening can change the end of your movie.
Well, there's a lot of that in the music industry too. I mean, you definitely have to play the game, and I know a lot of radio disc jockeys who refuse to play a lot of the songs on my album. I mean, because of my controversial image and stuff. So, I mean, it's not like I can make a record and put it out there and nobody gets in the way and there's no sort of censorship or anything like that. There's less people involved in the creation of a record. I think that's the difference. When you make a movie, there's 100 people involved. It costs 1 billion times more money, and everyone's got to put their 2 cents in. And I can't imagine playing my album for a room of 100 teenagers and then asking them all to write down on a piece of paper what I should change. I mean, that's, I think, a devastating thing to do to an artist, you know. And the whole idea of that for movie makers is kind of disappointing.
One of the things throughout your career, you know, you've been criticized. It seems to me...
Me criticized?
What a shocker. It seems like it's getting more brutal. I mean, they're particularly brutal in the last year or so.
Mm.
Have you noticed that? And
no.
Why do you think that is? I mean, is there a Madonna backlash?
I think there's a kind of bitterness in people, and a kind of jealousy and envy when they see that someone is happy and doing what they want to do in their life and actually making money or earning a living at it. Now, I don't think that I go around flaunting the fact that I'm rich or that I have money, but I absolutely do what I want with my life. You know, if I buy a house and I want to paint it pink, that's what I do, you know. If I want to write a book about my sexual fantasies, that's what I do. When people are afraid of you or your ideas, it's their instinct to want to quiet you and get rid of you. And they will do it any way they can by starting rumors that you're dying of a terminal illness to saying that you've had plastic surgery, to saying that you're old or you're ugly or you're untalented. They will do anything. They will resort to anything. And I've just really gotten to the point now where I just think, I mean, the absurdity of it all is that now people are starting to write like 10-page articles about how my career is over with. And I sit there and I think, well, why are you writing about it? I mean, why, if everything I do is so abysmally boring and dull and you're not interested, then why have you taken the time to actually sit down? You know what I mean? Because I do remember a time when I didn't have so many enemies, so many years ago.
Captain? Here we are. Bring your men in.
Hi. Bring in the men.
Fabrice.
Fabrice? Such beautiful names.
Michael.
Hi.
Gaël.
Michael, don't be afraid to look at me.
Il faut pas avoir peur de la regarder.
I'm not going to bite you.
Elle peut pas te manger.
No, anyways.
I just want to know, when was the last time you were surrounded by this many men?
Last night. As a matter of fact.
How do you meet people? How do you make friends? And how do you know if they're genuine?
How do I meet people? Well, I rely on my friends. How do I meet people? Well, it is difficult. I mean, I don't know. I call up my agent and ask her if she's got so-and-so's phone number. I don't know. I mean, it's tough, I have to say, but somehow it happens. I mean, it's just through my friends, people that I do trust. And I trust the people that I trust not to bring around people that are untrustworthy. So...
About your hair, though, why did you decide to have it all cut off?
Well...
Don't have to wash it?
The last time... Honey, listen, I didn't wash it when it was long, okay? When last time you saw me, when you came to Miami, my hair was hot pink. I went through this Pippi Longstocking phase where I just had to have, like, pink red hair and braids and bangs. And when I dyed my hair with all these crazy colors, it really... I sort of gave myself a haircut because then I tried to make it blonde again, and my hair started to break off everywhere, and so I kind of gave myself a haircut whether I liked it or not. And then for the tour, I just wanted something clean. And after I cut all the dancers' hair, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with my hair. And I thought of having it dark like in my Rain video, but then I didn't want to have the same color hair as all the dancers. So I cut it short and kept it this color. And then I'm gonna have it dark when the tour's over with. But it is really good to change. Everyone always says, oh, she reinvented herself. But the thing is, I just get a new haircut every year. I mean, which everyone should do, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think
it's really good for your head to not get stuck in your way of thinking. Like, this is how I look. This is my image. This is who I am. It kind of wakes you up and makes you dress another way and think another way and carry yourself another way.
Now, will the two of you work together again, do you think?
Certainement.
Ah oui, ça c'est sûr.
When I'm done with this tour, that's it. I'm just going to travel and have some fun and learn how to golf, go to some basketball games. And I'm going to bother you a lot. I hope you don't mind.
No, it's a pleasure.
So you're thinking of taking a year off?
Well, I don't know about a year, but I'd just like to take some time off and really, have some fun. Not that this isn't fun.
I went out. You were more heavy than last time, huh?
Heavy?
Yeah.
Than last time?
Yeah.
You've never lived here before, honey. I would have done Demolition Man, but I wanted to be Demolition Man.
Right, everybody look at me.
That's my line.
Thank you.
The other thing about tattoos is that once you get one, you want to keep having them, right?
Yeah, like the
Never
piercing,
more.
I think. Like people with piercing. You see, I have one
That's
here.
piercing,
Now,
if you want to try to say.
what did I say?
Piercing.
Piercing.
Piercing.